So let's dive in. The first thing that you need to cover is your foundation. And I want you to think of yourself as trying to build a mansion, like this giant, you want to build yourself into this mansion. And all you've got is this pile of dirt, right? Where do you start to build this grand mansion? You have to build the foundation. And this is beyond important. This is beyond vital. Your foundation is like, the poles in the river. Like, you need this structure so that the beauty can flow in the right direction. The wisdom, the creativity can all flow in the right direction. But you need, as a man, as a masculine energy, you need to be grounded in your structure. You need to have that daily routine, that workout, that reading, that walking, that diet. These things are your structure, and they're so important. So let's say like you're down in the dumps right now, you're in a negative space, things aren't going, you don't know what to do, right? This is where structure comes in. This is where I would like to introduce an idea called right action. And basically what right action is like you just do the things that you know you need to do, and you don't do the things that are bad. And a good way to look at this is like, look at yourself as a computer without, take away the whole human thing and just look at yourself as a computer, a giant supercomputer, super sophisticated computer. And what are you going to feed that computer every day? Is it going to be meditation, exercise, some books, or are you going to feed it junk content, news, bullshit, porn, junk food? Like, what are you going to put in your computer? And most of you guys already know this stuff. I'm going to discuss a few things, but you know what's good for you and what's not. And so this theory of right action is very helpful just to do it. And it doesn't matter what emotions come up. You might be like craving that junk food or craving that porn. And it's just like, no, like that doesn't go into my computer. That hurts my computer. And I'm building a badass supercomputer here. And if I watch porn or I consume a bunch of news shit, that's gonna fuck up the computer. But if I read this book by Ken Wilber, or I meditate, or I go for a walk in nature, that is gonna optimize and increase the power of this computer. So we're building a badass computer here together. So as you guys do right action, you'll begin to feel this momentum. You'll begin to feel this confidence, this self-esteem boost, this belief in yourself. And that's why the foundation is so important, because that, once you get the foundation down, it kind of starts spilling into other parts of life. And you'll start looking at, what kind of girls am I dating, or how can I date more girls, or what's a better way for me to make money that's more aligned with my values and my purpose, or, how's my relationship with my family, or, this health thing, things like that. It just kind of starts to trickle into all parts of your life. And that's why the foundation is so key and so important. What's cool about right action is there's not a lot of thought that goes into it. Like these things that are right action, that are going to build, your foundation and make you feel already 90% better within a week, are very simple to do. You just have to do them, right? So let's start. We got 5. Number 1 is sleep, right? So sleep is super important, and it's good to cut out caffeine 10 hours before bed. Another thing that helps is to put your phone away from the bed, across the room, so that when the alarm goes off, you actually get out of bed and you go over there. And also, this is killing 2 birds with 1 stone, is that you also don't spend your time scrolling on the internet as you're going to bed. You put it away, and then you get that hour of rest before you actually fall asleep. So you get around 8 hours, and you wake up and you're out of bed as well. The next thing is diet. Diet obviously is different for everybody, but you know what healthy food is, organic food. Fasting is also pretty powerful, but just having it under control. You don't have to be perfect with your diet, but, just eating healthy food and, staying with what's good for you and what gives you, good energy, and not overeating. Number 3 is exercise. Obviously, this is personal development 101, but yeah, working out, going to the gym, going on walks 3-4 times a week, just staying consistent with it and just doing it. And maybe you feel like you don't want to go lift weights, you're like tired, then just go for a walk. Number 4 is meditation. And I think this is a requirement. I think everybody should have this time of the day where they're just in silence, alone with themselves for, 20, 30 minutes. I meditate an hour every morning. But I know some people don't have the time for that. But I think if you can carve out those 20, 30 minutes a day, maybe before work, you just get up 20 minutes earlier and you just have that time with yourself. It's so healing, and it just makes you so much more light and emotionally positive the next day, and you'll just be feeling good. So maybe you cut out, 20 minutes of scrolling on your phone or Netflix or whatever the night before, so that you can get up a little earlier and get that meditation in, because that's so key to, feeling good and getting that foundation down. And the fifth thing is what I call study. And this is super important. And really, it just takes, 30 minutes to an hour a day. But just getting these books that, contain just the deepest wisdom from sages and mystics, Ken Wilber, Peter Ralston, Rupert Spira, Adyashanti. There's so many great men who have written these, incredible books. And you just read a little bit a day, and that builds, that knowledge wellspring builds. And you'll notice that within, not a long time, you're just much more wise, and you have much more wisdom within you from reading these books. And I recommend you actually get like the real paperback books. And instead of watching TV or scrolling on your phone, you just read that book before you go to bed or whatever, or at lunch. And it's just such a powerful way to, have a better structure and increase your levels of wisdom personally. All right. And next up, I've got the wrong action. And so these are things that you want to consciously avoid doing. And I think especially today, this is important. And this is like scrolling too much online. Even if it's good content, I think there's a limit that your mind can handle where you get overwhelmed with information. And it's just not healthy to be scrolling all day. And these algorithms and stuff are made to addict you in these things. So limiting scrolling, limiting, staying on these algorithms. Obviously, porn, I think, is very detrimental for men. I think it's very detrimental for your self-esteem and your happiness levels and your emotional maturity, and also your ability to be with women in a loving way. I think that porn kind of corrodes your sexuality. That's a deep topic that I want to make another video about. Another thing is staying away from ideologies like men going their own way and black pill and all these kind of disempowering ideologies. They don't really get you anywhere, and they're just negativity and toxic, and they just fuel that fire of the victimhood and, the world's out to get me and poor me and these things. And that's not how you become a powerful, conscious man. And another thing is like these role models like Andrew Tate and Dan Bilzerian and these kind of like egomaniac guys, just avoid them completely. Also avoid the news. Like, yes, be updated with what's going on in the world, but a lot of the news is just drama these days. And it's just back and forth drama, and it's not really getting you anywhere. Like, you're not really learning anything. So stay away from the news, stay away from fads and, media and these things. Like, obviously enjoy a movie once in a while, but the less that you can take in and the less that you can, consume, the better. And this kind of brings me to my next point, which is to simplify. And I think just almost imagine yourself living like a monk, like you've just got your 2-3 things a day that you do that you really focus on. Could be like your life purpose. Maybe if you have work, you're working. So like that's one thing. Then your like meditation practice and you're studying. That's like, 3-4 things a day. And then that's it. And don't add on a bunch of stuff to your life. Like, I have to watch my shows. I have to catch up with sports. I have to just cut all that shit out. Be very brutal with the cutting out of things that you think you need and people that you think you need around you. Because, the path of being a conscious man is a lonely path. You will find others, but it's very much a specific and unique thing. So you have to get used to silence. You have to get used to being alone, and you have to get used to cutting out the bullshit. And most people are infatuated with the bullshit. So there's lots of power in just cut, and just simplify your life. Don't make it more stressful than it needs to be. Just make it extremely, bare bones and simple, but at the same time, powerful. And this brings me to my next point, which is purpose. And it's so vital as men to find our purpose. And I think purpose, it's difficult because you have to make money, right? And you have to work, right, to make money, and especially at a young age in your early 20s. But that doesn't mean you have to give up on your life purpose. And you can still put, those drops of investment into that purpose of yours. So it's good to figure out, what is your passion? What do you love to do? What do you lose yourself in doing? What would you love to become a master in? and maybe teach later in life or do later in life. And maybe you just put an hour of time a day into that and you read about it an hour a day or something. And this is so vital as a man. And really, these other things, these foundational things like your diet, your exercise, like it's great. That's good. It's going to make you feel 90% better. But the house is your purpose, right? That's the foundation. But the house is your purpose. And you want a fucking mansion. And you want something that you're really alive about, you really feel good about, you really feel aligned with. And that needs to be kind of more important than the foundation. And you can think of it like, maybe there's a guy who has his diet, his exercise, his sleep, everything's optimized, but he's like working as an accountant. It's like, that's still going to be a pretty dull and boring life, right? It's not going to feel passionate and alive and exciting. So more important than the foundation, honestly, is the purpose, is like your why. Why are you waking up? What are you excited to do? And a way that you can kind of slowly ease into this is, just do like an hour a day of working on it, reading about it. Plan to make your life about that purpose, and that purpose being your full-time thing. And if you don't know what it is, just question yourself, question, what do I love? What would I love doing with the rest of my life? It takes a while to find your purpose, truly. So you got to experiment with things and see what fits you. But just trust that you can find that, and that, that purpose will come to you when you start to look for it. Spirituality is awakening to yourself and life and reality as God, and everything as divine and sacred. And so really, if we're thinking of the foundation as, your habits and your disciplines, and we're thinking of the house as your life purpose, the spiritual side, the spiritual practice is like the roof.